Welcome back to Global News Morning. A pleasure to have you join us. Just released is the National 2023 Real Estate Investors Report, and helping us dissect it is Matt Lee. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lots of stats in this report and some eye-opening statistics released.
Yeah, I was looking at these and it was really interesting for me to see. I wanted to know who's investing in residential real estate, who's thinking about when they do these stats, they look and say who's looking at buying more, who's look at getting out, all of these different pieces. It's really interesting. So
one of the things that I found interesting, and you'll talk about this a little later, is some people that own investment properties are either renting currently or living with family.
Yeah, they don't even own a primary residence. Yeah, so it's very neat.
And that's legal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll dive into that and see, because I find it, so that's the younger investor likely, we look at the different ones and go from there.
Well, kick it off for us.
Well, I think the biggest stat that we're looking at is that 11% of Canadians invest in residential real estate. So it's just over 10%. We talk about all of these different residential real estate people renting. It's 10% of people that actually own those properties, and that's the bulk of it, right? So we look at that and they start asking who's going to buy more, So they're saying, they did a stat and they said 26% of people want to buy an investment property over the next 5 years.
So they're thinking about it.
They're thinking about it. From a personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint, when you see 26%, probably half are going to buy, right? So you're back to that, 11, 13% really are going to buy in the next 5 years, because time does fly, and sometimes things change. So I would say 50% of that is likely going to buy an investment property.
There are a lot of people that for a lengthy period of time have had investment properties.
Yeah.
They seem to hang on to them, but eventually a lot of them flip it and sell them.
Yeah, that's right. So if we look at now, the younger investor is looking at buying 2 or more properties, and that's what we're seeing, that younger investors have more properties. And the person that's been in the market for a while is actually downsizing and has 1 or 2, and basically it's just kind of on their way out, because they've done that and they've made their money and they've done the investment thing for a while.
Nice retirement nest egg there.
That's right. You look at it and they probably bought them, and if you say 20 years ago, and they bought them for 25% of what they are worth now, so
wow.
They've worked at them. They are a part-time job. You're cutting grass, you're doing snow, you're probably organizing garbage once in a while. Everybody kind of, things can slip, animals get into it. You're renovating units, you're getting calls when it's minus 30 and there is a frozen pipe. There's no way around these things, and you have to think of it as being an investment. It is going to make you money, and there is going to be the increase. You're going to get the rent coming in, you're going to get inflation, but it is a job. There's no way you can leave it by itself.
Okay. I love these pictographs, these visual aids that you've sent here. Talk us through these.
So the first one is, if you own an investment property, how likely are you to buy an investment property over the next 5 years? So if we look at this, very likely is going to be 19%, and then somewhat likely is about 32%. So that adds up to about half, 50%, and then the other ones are saying very unlikely. We're not going to buy. So that 50% that own a property are saying, yeah, we're likely going to, reinvest the money that we're making in the investments I have and buy another one. When you look at the stat, when somebody doesn't own an investment property and they're asking the question, would you buy an investment property over the next 5 years? Very likely is about 6%. So that market that doesn't know it and feels like, maybe I don't know this market, interest rates are up a little bit, you're looking at that shrinking to 25% of the market. Everybody else is out. So that market is basically smaller. We're getting towards that 11% amount of people.
We've all heard that there's a chance of interest rates going up again. Is that when some people might sell?
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing, and they're asking that stat right now, and basically 31% of people are debating about selling their investment property, probably because in Canada we have this 5-year term, right? So if they're 3 years into a 5-year term, interest rates have climbed from maybe a 2.5% interest rate to what we're looking at as being 5.5% interest rate as their investment property. They look at the amount of interest that they're and it's like, does that cover the bills anymore? You know,
Right.
you start looking at it and saying, I've got to increase my rents all the way around once a year, and it can range between 1% and 2.5%, depending on what the government allows. But that's kind of why you have to stay on those numbers and say we have to do every 366 days, we have to do a rent increase, because this is the situation that can happen. Interest rates go up, now my bills don't get covered, and you might have to sell.
Wow.
So it really depends. I would try to hold on because it will always come back and you'll always make out better. But it's always looking at the short term and how it fits best for yourself.
It's been said for decades, a really good investment is real estate, and these numbers back that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt Lee.
Thanks.
Real Estate Tips, brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.